There are moments that split your life in two. Before and after. For me, that moment came on a Thursday night in September, when I opened my door to a woman named Talia. I thought I was booking a massage. I didn't know I was inviting in the person who would change everything. This is our story. My name is Mara. I'm 27 years old, and on paper, my life looks perfect. I live in a penthouse in New York City. The kind with floor-to-ceiling windows that show the whole skyline. The kind that costs more per month than most people make in a year. I have money. I have status. I have a last name that opens doors before I even walk through them. My family owns half the luxury real estate in this city. Hotels, office buildings, apartment complexes that touch the clouds. My father built an empire, and I'm supposed to be the one who carries it forward. People see me at charity galas in designer dresses. They see me shaking hands with investors, smiling for cameras, giving speeches about legacy and vision. They think I have it all. But here's the truth nobody knows. I'm exhausted. I'm lonely. And most days, I don't even recognize myself anymore. It was a Thursday night in late September when everything changed. I came home after another endless day. Back-to-back meetings. A lunch with potential investors who only cared about numbers. A board presentation where I had to pretend I wasn't screaming inside. Then a cocktail event where I smiled so much my face hurt. I walked into my penthouse and kicked off my heels. The silence hit me like a wall. No one was waiting for me. No one ever was. I poured myself a glass of wine and stood by the window, looking out at the city. Millions of people out there. Millions of lights. And I felt completely invisible. I was tired of pretending. Tired of performing. Tired of being the perfect daughter, the perfect heir, the perfect version of someone I didn't even like. I wanted to feel something real. So I did something I'd never done before. I opened an app on my phone and booked a massage. In-home service. Same night. I didn't care who came. I just needed someone to touch me in a way that wasn't transactional. I needed to feel like a human being again, not a businesswoman in a suit. The appointment was confirmed. Someone named Talia would arrive in an hour. I didn't think much of it. I didn't know that hour would split my life into before and after. When the doorbell rang, I wasn't prepared. I opened the door, and there she was. Talia. She was around my age, maybe a little younger. She had dark hair pulled back into a low bun, warm brown eyes, and a calm presence that filled the space around her. She wore simple clothes, black pants, a soft gray shirt, but she looked put together, grounded, like she knew exactly who she was. "Hi," she said, her voice quiet but steady. "I'm Talia. You must be Mara." "Yes," I said, suddenly aware of how tense I looked. "Come in." She stepped inside, carrying a massage table and a large bag. She looked around the penthouse briefly, but not the way most people did. She wasn't impressed or intimidated. She just took it in. "Where would you like me to set up?" she asked. "The living room is fine," I said. She nodded and got to work. I watched her move. She was efficient but unhurried. There was something calming about the way she set up the table, laid out the oils, adjusted the lighting. She didn't try to make small talk. She didn't ask intrusive questions. She just existed, peacefully. And that alone made me want to cry. "You can change in the bathroom," Talia said gently, handing me a towel. "Take your time." I nodded and walked away. In the bathroom, I stared at myself in the mirror. My makeup was still perfect. My hair was still in place. But my eyes looked tired. Hollow. I stripped off my work clothes and wrapped myself in the towel. For a moment, I just stood there breathing. When I came back out, Talia was waiting by the table. Soft music was playing. The lights were dim. The room smelled like lavender. "Whenever you're ready," she said. I climbed onto the table and lay face down. The towel covered me. I closed my eyes. And then she touched me. Her hands were warm. That was the first thing I noticed. She started at my shoulders, pressing gently but firmly into the knots I didn't even know were there. I flinched at first. Not because it hurt, but because I wasn't used to being touched like that. With care. With attention. "You're holding a lot of tension here," Talia said softly. "Try to breathe." I did. Slowly. In and out. Her hands moved down my back, along my spine, across my shoulder blades. Every movement was intentional. She wasn't just going through the motions. She was actually paying attention to me. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt seen. "Long day?" she asked after a while. "Long year," I said, my voice muffled against the table. She didn't push. She just kept working, her hands steady and sure. But something in me cracked. Maybe it was the wine. Maybe it was the exhaustion. Maybe it was the fact that she was a stranger, and I didn't have to perform for her. I started talking. "I don't know why I'm so tired," I said quietly. "I have everything I'm supposed to want. But I feel empty. Like I'm going through the motions of someone else's life." Talia didn't say anything right away. She just listened. "I don't even know who I am anymore," I continued. "I wake up. I go to work. I smile. I make decisions. I come home. And then I do it all again. And for what?" Her hands paused for just a moment. Then she spoke, her voice soft but clear. "You're not alone in that," she said. "A lot of people feel that way. Like they're living for everyone except themselves." I opened my eyes, even though I couldn't see her. "Do you ever feel that way?" I asked. She was quiet for a moment. "I used to," she said. "Before I decided to stop apologizing for wanting something different." Something in her words landed deep in my chest. The massage lasted an hour, but it felt like both a moment and a lifetime. When it was over, I didn't want her to leave. "Thank you," I said, sitting up slowly, still wrapped in the towel. I needed that." Talia smiled. It was small, but it was real. "I'm glad I could help." She started packing up her things, folding the table, putting the oils away. I watched her, feeling something strange and unfamiliar rising in my chest. I didn't want the night to end like this. "Would you like some tea?" I asked suddenly. She looked up, surprised. "You don't have to." "I know," I said. "But I'd like the company. If you have time." She studied me for a moment. Then she nodded. "Okay," she said. "I'd like that." We sat on the couch with mugs of chamomile tea. I had changed into soft clothes, sweatpants and an oversized sweater. For the first time all day, I felt like myself. Or maybe I felt like someone I wanted to be. Talia sat across from me, relaxed but present. She didn't seem uncomfortable in the silence. She didn't try to fill it with meaningless chatter. "So," I said, smiling a little, "how did you get into massage therapy?" She took a sip of tea, thinking. "I needed something that felt real," she said. "I used to work in an office. Corporate job. Good pay. But I hated it. I felt like I was disappearing." I stared at her. "That's exactly how I feel." She met my eyes. "I know," she said. I could tell. We talked for over an hour. About work. About pressure. About the difference between success and happiness. She told me about her dream of opening her own wellness studio someday. A place where people could come and feel safe. Where healing wasn't just physical. I told her about my family. About the weight of expectations. About how I'd spent my whole life trying to be enough for people who would never be satisfied. And she didn't judge me. She didn't try to fix me. She just listened. When she finally stood to leave, I walked her to the door. "Thank you," I said again. "For everything." "You're welcome, Mara," she said. She turned to go, and I almost let her. But then I heard myself say, "Can I book you again?" She looked back, a soft smile on her face. Of course. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying every word we'd said. Every moment. Every look. I told myself it was just because she was kind. Because she listened. Because she made me feel human. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. I felt something I hadn't felt in years. I felt curious. Awake. Hopeful. I felt like maybe, just maybe, there was a version of my life that didn't feel like a prison. And it scared me. But it also made me want to see her again. I booked another session 3 days later. This time, I wasn't booking because I was stressed. I was booking because I wanted to see her. When Talia arrived, she smiled at me like we were old friends. "Back so soon," she teased gently. "I liked the first session," I said, trying to sound casual. She sat up again. Same table. Same music. Same lavender scent. But this time it felt different. This time, I was aware of every touch. Every breath. Every second her hands were on me. We talked more this time. About books. about travel, about little things that made us laugh. And I realized something that both thrilled and terrified me. I wasn't just comfortable with her. I was drawn to her. The third session happened a week later. By then, I had stopped pretending it was just about the massage. After the session, we sat on the couch again. This time, I poured us both wine instead of tea. You know, Talia said, looking at me with those steady eyes, you don't have to book a session to talk to me. My heart skipped. What do you mean? I mean, she said carefully, if you want to spend time together, we can just spend time together. I stared at her, my pulse racing. I'd like that, I whispered. She smiled. And in that smile, I saw everything I'd been too afraid to name. We started seeing each other outside of sessions. Coffee in the mornings before her appointments. Walks through Central Park. Late-night conversations on my couch that stretched until sunrise. I learned everything about her. Her favorite books. Her childhood. Her quiet strength. The way she saw the world, not as something to conquer, but as something to experience. And she learned about me. The real me. Not the heir. Not the businesswoman. Just Mara. One night, we were sitting on my couch, talking about nothing and everything. She was close. Closer than usual. I looked at her, and I couldn't breathe. Talia, I said softly. Yeah, I think I'm falling for you. The words hung in the air. She didn't look away. I think I've been falling for you since the first night, she said. And then she leaned in. The kiss was soft. Gentle. Honest. It wasn't rushed or desperate. It was just real. When we pulled apart, I was trembling. I've never felt this before, I whispered. Neither have I, she said. And just like that, everything changed. Loving Talia was the easiest thing I'd ever done. And the hardest. For the first few weeks, we existed in our own world. My penthouse became our safe place. A bubble where nothing else mattered. We cooked together. We laughed. We stayed up late talking about dreams we'd buried under responsibility and fear. She made me feel light. Like I could breathe again. But I knew it couldn't stay that way forever. The real world was waiting. And the real world didn't care how happy I was. It started small. My assistant noticed I was leaving work early. My father commented that I seemed distracted in meetings. Friends I barely spoke to started asking if I was seeing someone. I dodged the questions at first. I wasn't ready to share Talia with anyone. She was mine. Ours. And I wanted to protect that. But I also knew I couldn't hide forever. One night, Talia and I were lying on the couch. Her head was on my chest. I was playing with her hair. There's a charity event next week, I said quietly. A big one. My family hosts it every year. Sounds fancy, she said. It is. I hesitated. I want you to come with me. She lifted her head and looked at me. Are you sure? I nodded, even though my stomach twisted with fear. I'm sure. I don't want to hide you. I don't want to hide us. She searched my face. Mara, you know what that means, right? People will talk. Your family will ask questions. I know. And you're okay with that? I kissed her forehead. I'm okay with anything as long as I have you. She smiled, but I could see the worry in her eyes. Okay, she said softly. I'll go. The night of the event, I was a mess. I stood in front of my closet for 20 minutes, changing dresses 3 times. Nothing felt right. I wanted to look perfect. Not for the cameras or the guests. For her. When Talia arrived, she took my breath away. She wore a simple black dress. Nothing flashy. But she looked stunning. Elegant. Confident. You're beautiful, I said. She blushed. So are you. I took her hand. Are you ready for this? She squeezed my hand. As long as I'm with you. The event was held at one of my family's hotels. A ballroom filled with chandeliers, champagne, and people who had more money than heart. The moment we walked in together, I felt the shift. Eyes turned. Whispers started. I held Talia's hand tighter. We moved through the room, greeting people, making polite conversation. Some people smiled and nodded. Others stared. A few looked away completely. I introduced Talia as my partner. I didn't explain. I didn't apologize. I just said it. And with every introduction, I felt a little braver. But I also felt the weight of judgment pressing down on me. Halfway through the night, my father found me. He was a tall man with silver hair and a presence that commanded attention. He built everything we had from nothing, and he expected me to protect it. Mara, he said, his voice calm but cold. A word. I glanced at Talia. She gave me a small nod. I'll be right back, I told her. I followed my father to a quiet corner of the ballroom. He didn't waste time. What are you doing? He asked. What do you mean? Don't play games with me. You brought a woman here. As your date. In front of everyone. I lifted my chin. Her name is Talia. And yes, she's my partner. His jaw tightened. Do you have any idea what people are saying? I don't care what they're saying. Well, you should. His voice was sharp now. This family has a reputation. A legacy. And you're putting it at risk. By being honest? I shot back. By being happy? By being reckless. He stepped closer. You think this is just about you? It's not. Every decision you make reflects on this family. On this business. And right now, you're making us look weak. I stared at him, my chest tight. I'm not weak for loving someone. You're weak for letting your personal life become a spectacle, he said. You want to throw away everything I built for some woman you barely know? I know her, I said, my voice trembling. Better than I've ever known anyone. He shook his head. You're being naive, Mara. This won't end well. And when it falls apart, don't come crying to me. He walked away, leaving me standing there, shaking. I went back to Talia. She was standing by the bar, alone. Are you okay? She asked immediately. I nodded, but my eyes were wet. Let's get out of here. We left without saying goodbye to anyone. Back at my penthouse, I broke down. I sat on the floor, my back against the couch, and cried. Talia sat beside me, holding me. He hates me, I said through the tears. He thinks I'm ruining everything. He's scared, Talia said softly. People lash out when they're scared. But what if he's right? I looked at her. What if I lose everything because of this? She cupped my face in her hands. Mara, listen to me. You are not losing anything that matters. Money. Status. Those things don't love you back. They don't see you. I do. But what if? No, she said firmly. No what ifs. You get to choose your life. Not him. Not the business. Not anyone else. You. I closed my eyes, leaning into her touch. I'm scared, I whispered. I know, she said. So am I. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. And in that moment, I knew. I wasn't going back. The fallout was swift. Within days, my father started pushing me out of meetings. Board members questioned my judgment. Gossip spread through our social circles like wildfire. Some people supported me. Most didn't. My mother called, crying, asking me to fix this. Old friends stopped returning my texts. Invitations to events dried up. I was being erased. And it hurt. But every time I came home to Talia, the hurt faded. She never asked me to fight battles I wasn't ready for. She never made me feel small. She just loved me. Steadily. Patiently. And that gave me strength. One evening, Talia and I were sitting on the balcony, watching the sunset. I've been thinking, she said. About what? About my studio. She looked at me. I think I'm ready to do it. To actually open it. My heart swelled. Really? She nodded. I've been saving. And I found a space I can afford. It's small, but it's perfect. Talia, that's amazing. She hesitated. I don't want you to think I'm asking you for help. I'm not. I need to do this on my own. I took her hand. I know. And I'm so proud of you. She smiled, relieved. Will you come see the space with me? I'd love to. The space was in Brooklyn. A small storefront with big windows and exposed brick. It was raw and unfinished, but I could see what Talia saw. Potential. Peace. A place where people could heal. I can see it, I said, looking around. It's going to be beautiful. She squeezed my hand. Thank you for believing in me. Always. Over the next few months, I watched Talia build her dream. She worked day and night, painting walls, installing shelves, designing the space with her own hands. I helped when she let me, holding ladders, making coffee runs, sitting with her when she was exhausted. And slowly, I started to see my own life differently. I didn't need the empire. I didn't need my father's approval. I needed purpose, connection, truth. So I made a decision. I stepped back from the family business. Not completely, but enough. I stopped attending events that drained me. I stopped pretending to care about things I didn't. And I started speaking. I did an interview with a business magazine. I talked about identity, about the pressure to conform, about choosing love over legacy. It was terrifying, but it was also freeing. People responded, some with anger, some with support, but I didn't care anymore. I was done performing. Talia's studio opened on a cold Saturday in November. It was small and simple, but it was hers. I stood in the corner, watching people come in, watching them relax, watching Talia work with the same gentle confidence that had made me fall for her in the first place. She caught my eye and smiled. And I knew. This was what mattered. Not money. Not power. This. Us. Love built on honesty. That night, we sat on the floor of the empty studio, surrounded by candles. "I'm so proud of you," I said. "I couldn't have done it without you," Talia said. "Yes, you could have." She shook her head. "Maybe. But it wouldn't have meant as much." I kissed her, slow and soft. "I love you," I whispered. "I love you too." We sat there in the quiet, holding each other. And for the first time in my life, I felt whole. A few weeks later, my father called. I almost didn't answer. But something made me pick up. "Mara," he said. His voice was different. Softer. "Dad." There was a long pause. "I saw your interview," he said. I braced myself. Anne, I don't agree with everything you said. But I heard you." Tears filled my eyes. "I'm not asking for your approval," I said quietly. "But I'd like your respect." Another pause. "You have it," he said. "You've always had it. I just didn't know how to show it." I closed my eyes. "Thank you." We didn't fix everything that day. But it was a start. Months passed. Talia's studio grew. People loved it. They came for massages and left feeling seen. I found my own path. I started consulting for nonprofits, using my skills to help people, not profit margins. And Talia and I built a life. Not a perfect one, but a real one. We fought sometimes. We struggled. We had hard days. But we also had mornings where we woke up tangled in each other. Nights where we cooked dinner and danced in the kitchen. Quiet moments where we didn't need to say anything at all. And that was enough. More than enough. 1 year after we met, Talia and I stood on my balcony, watching the city lights. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked. "Regret what?" "Choosing this. Choosing me. Losing what you had." I turned to face her. "I didn't lose anything, Talia. I found everything." She smiled, her eyes bright. "I love you, Mara. I love you too." I pulled her close, resting my forehead against hers. And in that moment, I understood something I'd been searching for my whole life. Real power isn't money. It isn't status. It isn't control. Real power is choosing love, even when it costs you everything. Real power is being fully seen, and seeing someone else just as clearly. Real power is building a life that's true, even when the world tells you to hide. I had spent years trying to be enough for everyone else. But with Talia, I learned to be enough for myself. And that changed everything. We stayed on that balcony for hours, wrapped in each other, watching the city that had once made me feel so small. But I wasn't small anymore. I was free. And I was home. Not because of where I lived, but because of who I loved. If this story touched your heart, I hope it reminds you that love is worth fighting for. That being true to yourself is the bravest thing you can do. And that sometimes the life you're meant to live is waiting on the other side of fear. Thank you for listening to my story. If it moved you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. And remember, you deserve a love that sees you. Fully. Truly. Without shame. Until next time, choose love.